Having a relationship with God. What does that mean? If you've been following my videos, you would have seen the video on unlearning. Well, today we're going to be unlearning your thoughts on what a relationship with God would be. Many of you say you have a personal relationship with Jesus, which is a little something left over from the Jesus movement. But the scriptures say Jesus is seated at the right hand of the Father in heaven. You can't have a relationship with him if he isn't here. How about the Holy Spirit? Here is a very important verse for today. Jesus is saying in John 14:26, "But the Helper, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he will teach you all things and bring to your remembrance all things that I said to you." But the Helper, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name. We are to have a relationship with the Holy Spirit because that's who the Father sent.
John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. In John 3:16, the Father sent his Son. In John 14:26, the Father sent his Holy Spirit. If you refuse the Holy Spirit, there are no others to send.
Now that we're moving into the last days, the Holy Spirit will usher in the second coming by revealing the Father for who he is. You must see the will of God, and praying for it is being like-minded with God. Agreeing with God is having a relationship with him. God agreeing with you only happens when the Holy Spirit reveals the will of God to you. In Amos 3:3, "Can two walk together unless they are agreed?" To have a relationship with God is to do the will of God. If your prayers are answered, then you and God agree, and you have a relationship with him. Having a relationship is being like-minded. If your prayers are never answered, you are obviously not like-minded and you ask amiss. If you're still praying for your worldly wish list, then you don't see his will, nor do you have a relationship with God. A relationship with God is not about you. Now in the Lord's Prayer, in Luke 11:2, "So he said to them, when you pray, say, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven." Your will be done. That's how Jesus told us to pray. A relationship with God is all about the will of God. You need to ask the Holy Spirit to reveal the will of God. Being like-minded is part of a relationship with God. In Isaiah 1:13, "Bring no more futile sacrifices. Incense is an abomination to me. I cannot endure iniquity and the sacred meeting." In Isaiah 1:15, "When you spread out your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. Even though you make many prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood." If God hides his eyes from you and he will not hear you, then you have no relationship with God. When you go to your religious buildings and you make many prayers which are never answered, then you do not see the will of God, and his will is not in you, and there is no relationship. Romans 8:26. "Likewise, the Spirit also helps in our weaknesses, for we do not know what we should pray for as we ought. But the Spirit himself makes intercession for us with groanings that cannot be uttered." And in Romans 8:27, now he who searches the hearts knows what the mind of the Spirit is, because he makes intercession for the saints according to the will of God. In 1 Corinthians 2:11, for what man knows the things of a man except the spirit of the man which is in him? Even so, no one knows the things of God except the Spirit of God. In Hebrews 7:25, therefore he is also able to save to the uttermost those who come to God through him, since he always lives to make intercession for them. 1 John 4:7, beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and anyone who loves is born of God and knows God. Now, in today's summary, isn't falsely claiming to have a relationship with God taking the Lord's name in vain? A relationship with God is not about you. In 1 Corinthians 2:11, for what man knows the things of a man except the spirit of the man which is in him? Even so, no one knows the things of God except the Spirit of God. A relationship with God is all about the will of God. You cannot do or pray for the will of God until you see the will of God. Walking together, being like-minded, and doing the will of God is a relationship with God.